And world leaders and aid groups have condemned Hamas for releasing videos of two visibly emaciated hostages, intensifying outrage in Israel and increasing pressure on its government to secure their release. Now, Hamas claims that it will cooperate with the Red Cross efforts to deliver food and medicine if humanitarian corridors into Gaza are opened. The UN Security Council is set to address the crisis following Israel's request for an emergency meeting. DD India's Dheeraj Das reports.
Western leaders have expressed outrage over recently released videos by Hamas showing two Israeli hostages, Rom Breslevsky and aviator David in Gaza, appearing emaciated and distressed. Amidst the distressing videos, global leaders are now mounting pressure on both Hamas and Israel to allow urgent humanitarian access. French President Emmanuel Macron called the videos a reflection of Hamas's abject cruelty and stressed that France continues to fight for their release, a ceasefire, and increased humanitarian access. Voicing similar concerns, EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas said the images are appalling and expose the barbarity of Hamas, calling for the release of all hostages immediately and unconditionally. UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy said images of hostages being paraded for propaganda are sickening and they must be released unconditionally. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said he was appalled and reiterated that the release of all hostages must precede any ceasefire agreement. Amid the widespread outrage, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke with the two hostage families, expressing profound shock and telling them that efforts to return all the hostages will continue constantly and relentlessly. He spoke to the head of the Red Cross in the region, requesting his immediate involvement in providing food and medical care to hostages. Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Saar called for the international community to put the focus on the hostage situation.
The world witnessed their terrible condition, starved, tortured. Eviatar was forced to dig his own grave. The world saw the thick arm of the well-fed terrorist next to the starved and tortured Eviatar. The international community must make it not worthwhile for the terrorists. The world must put an end to the phenomena of kidnapping civilians. It must be front and center on world stage.
Meanwhile, Hamas said it was willing to coordinate with the Red Cross to deliver aid to hostages it holds in Gaza if Israel meets certain conditions, including permanently opening humanitarian corridors and halting airstrikes during the distribution of aid. As the world watches in despair, dozens of trucks carrying aid bound for Gaza moved from Egypt on Monday. Large crowds of Palestinians were seen on Monday carrying aid supplies received from the US-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation in central Gaza Strip. During the past week, over 23,000 tons of humanitarian aid in 1,200 trucks had entered Gaza, but that hundreds of the trucks had yet to be driven to aid distribution hubs by UN and other organizations. Meanwhile, Belgium's Air Force dropped the first in a series of aid packages into Gaza on Sunday in cooperation with Jordan. 16 pallets weighing a total of 15 tons were dropped into the territory, packed with food including pasta, rice, canned products, and powdered milk. As the situation remains fragile, the United Nations Security Council will hold a special session on Tuesday morning to discuss the 50 hostages still held by Hamas in Gaza, following a request by Foreign Minister Gideon Saar. Meanwhile, the hostage crisis in Gaza has caught the global attentions as recent push by several countries to recognize a state of Palestine gains momentum. The US-based Axios agency has reported on Monday that more than a dozen House Democrats have signed a letter pressing the Trump administration to recognize a Palestinian state, with at least one lawmaker planning to introduce a pro-statehood resolution. Dheeraj Das's report for DD India.